The cry and the dust. The sky above planet Varel 6 burned a pale green. Winds howled across the dry red plains. Sharp rocks jutted from the ground like broken teeth. And in the middle of that harsh landscape lay a broken ship. Smoke rose from its side. Sparks crackled from torn panels. Inside the wreckage, a human man lay still, his body half covered in dust. His name was Eli Mercer, a soldier, a scout, a survivor. His ship had been hit during a patrol near an uncharted region. The navigation system failed. He crash-landed here alone, hurt, confused, afraid. His right arm was bruised. His leg was twisted. He crawled out of the wreckage hours ago, but now he couldn't move anymore. His lips were dry. His body ached. And worst of all, his eyes began to leak. Tears. Soft, silent tears rolled down his cheeks as he stared at the twin suns in the sky. So this is how it ends. A watcher in the wind from behind a ridge, someone watched him. She was tall, with dark violet skin that shimmered under the sun. Her eyes were wide, glowing faint blue. She had sharp ears and two tiny horn-like ridges above her forehead. Her cloak, made of woven leaves and fibers, fluttered in the wind. Her name was Kareen, a young Varelian tracker. She had followed the trail of smoke out of curiosity. At first she thought it was a fallen beast, but now she crouched silently, observing the strange creature on the ground. He was soft-looking, pale, not scaled or armored like her kind. And then she saw it. Water, dripping from his face. She gasped. "Your body is leaking water? Are you hurt?" She rushed forward before she could stop herself. First contact Ellie blinked, his vision blurry. Was it a dream? Or was a purple alien girl really standing over him? She reached out with careful hands, touching his forehead. Her fingers were warm. "No burns, but you are losing fluid. You are dying," she said softly, almost like a whisper to herself. Eli coughed. His throat hurt badly. "No, I'm not dying. I'm just crying." Kareen tilted her head. "Crying? Is this the word for leaking from the face?" "It happens when humans feel too much," he whispered. "When we're sad or scared." She pulled back, confused. Her kind did not leak water from the face. They howled, they shouted, they struck walls, but they never cried. "That is foolish," she said. Eli laughed softly. It hurt. "Yeah, maybe it is." The decision. Kareen looked around. She knew others would come soon, scouts from her tribe. If they saw him, they might kill him. Outsiders were not welcome, but something in his voice, something in those leaking eyes. It stirred a strange feeling in her chest. She grabbed a thick cloth and wrapped it gently around his shoulder. "Can you walk?" Eli shook his head. Kareen muttered something in her language and pulled his arm over her shoulder. Her body was surprisingly strong. "Then I will carry you." "Why?" he asked weakly. "Because no creature should die leaking." She paused. "And because I want to know why your water falls when your heart breaks." Into the wild together, they moved slowly across the dusty plains. Kareen led him into a narrow canyon, away from the crash site. They stopped near a hidden cave, cool and dark. Inside, she gave him water from a gourd made from plant husks. She crushed glowing roots and rubbed them on his wounds. The sting made him wince, but he nodded gratefully. "What are you?" she asked finally. "Human." "From where?" "Earth. Far away." She repeated the word. "Earth." It sounded heavy in her mouth, strange. "I am Kareen." "I'm Eli." They sat in silence for a while. The fire she lit crackled gently. Outside, night began to fall over the wild world, but inside the cave, something soft had begun. Trust. Alien ways of healing. The cave was quiet. Outside, the wind howled across the rocky plains of Varel 6, but inside, Eli lay on a soft bed made of woven moss, his body sore but safe. His breathing had steadied, and for the first time in hours, he didn't feel like he was dying. Across the fire sat Karine, the alien girl. She had not left his side. She watched him, curious eyes flickering in the firelight. She held a bowl made from some carved stone, filled with glowing blue liquid. "Drink this," she said. "What is it?" Eli asked, unsure. "Root medicine. It helps body sleep, helps pain leave." Eli slowly took the bowl. It smelled like mint, but stronger, sharper. He drank. The taste burned his tongue, but warmth spread through his chest. "Thanks," he whispered. "Humans are strange," Karine replied. "You leak water when scared. You drink fire when in pain. And you carry strangers across the desert," Eli said with a smile. "Only once." They both laughed, just a little. Learning each other. For the next 2 days, Eli rested. Karine brought him food, small fruits, dried insect meat, and boiled roots. She used sticky plant sap to bind his leg and kept his skin cool with wet leaves. Every time she touched him, her hands were gentle. Eli watched her move, quick, careful, strong. "You've done this before," he said. She nodded. "I care for the sick in my tribe, before they sent me to track." "Why were you tracking?" "Because I asked too many questions," she said, eyes narrowing. "Like what?" "Like, why do we kill strangers before hearing them speak? The trouble with tears." That night, Eli woke with a soft cry, a nightmare, the crash, the fire, the silence of space. He sat up, chest tight. Karine, sleeping nearby, opened her eyes. "Your water again," she whispered. "Yeah," he said, wiping his face. "Why does it still come? You are not injured now." Eli took a deep breath. "It comes from inside. When you lose things, people, home, peace." Karine looked at the flames. "Then, the water is your pain?" "It is my memory of pain." "I see." She touched her own cheek. "We don't have that, but maybe we should." An unexpected visitor. The next morning, Karine froze when she returned from gathering food. She had seen footprints in the dust. Others were near. She rushed back to the cave and knelt beside Eli. "You must." "I'd." "Why? Who's coming?" "My people, trackers. If they find you, they will end you." "Even if I'm not a threat?" "They won't ask. You are not one of us." "That is enough." Eli clenched his jaw. "So what now?" Karine looked around. Her cave was too small, too easy to search. "I know a place. Dangerous, but hidden." "Then let's go." He limped forward. She helped him again, just like before. Running for peace. They moved at night, through narrow paths, away from open sky. Karine led with careful steps, always alert. Eli kept up, though every muscle ached. At one point they heard a cry, a deep, beast-like sound echoing through the canyon. Karine raised her hand. "Don't move," she whispered. A giant, six-legged creature passed above them, sniffing the air. It didn't see them. They held their breath until it vanished into the cliffs. Only then did they move again. A moment of trust. That night they found another cave, deeper, hidden behind a waterfall. Eli sat down hard, exhausted. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. Karine looked at him. "Because you didn't scream when I touched you." Eli blinked. "What do you mean?" "Most creatures from the stars, when they see us, they fight, or cry, or beg. But you just looked at me like I was a person." Eli nodded slowly. "Because you are." Karine didn't reply. She only sat beside him, close, silent. And that night, for the first time, she cried too. A single tear. Just one. It shocked even her. "Your water. It's contagious," she whispered, wiping it away. They laughed together. The language of pain. The hidden cave behind the waterfall was quiet. Outside, water rushed over the rocks, hiding their presence. Inside, Eli and Kareen sat close to the fire, staring at the orange glow. The silence between them wasn't empty. It was filled with unspoken thoughts. Kareen was carving something into a flat piece of bark. Her fingers moved with care. Eli watched. "What are you making?" he asked. "A warning," she replied. "To leave near the path, to tell others. Danger, so they stay away. You're protecting me? I'm protecting peace," she said quietly. "That includes you." Telling stories, they spent long hours in the cave. As Eli's leg healed, Kareen taught him Varelian words. Her language was sharp, rhythmic, full of clicking sounds and low tones. Eli struggled. He mixed the sounds often. Kareen laughed when he said, "Your face is delicious," instead of "thank you." "Your tongue is weak," she joked. "Maybe," Eli smiled. "But it still speaks truth." She paused. That sentence was too smooth to be a mistake. She looked away quickly. Then she asked softly, "What is Earth like?" Eli leaned back. "It's loud, crowded, bright skies, so many people, but sometimes you feel alone." Kareen looked into the fire. "Here, it's quiet, but sometimes I feel like no one hears me either. Pain shared is lighter. That night, a storm came. Lightning flashed. Thunder echoed deep into the cave. Eli flinched at every boom. Kareen noticed. "What is wrong?" He shook his head. But then, he told her. "It reminds me of war, of bombs, of screams. There was a mission once. We were ambushed." Kareen listened in silence. Eli's voice shook. "My team, they didn't all make it. I did. I still see them in my dreams." Kareen reached across the fire and touched his hand. "We don't speak of war much," she said. "But I know that pain. I watched my brother fall. I was too far to help." They sat there, hand in hand. No more words, because some pain is understood without language. The broken bone. The next day, Kareen slipped on the wet cave floor. Her ankle twisted. A loud crack echoed. She gasped, falling hard. Eli rushed to her side. "Kareen!" Her face was pale. Her leg bent the wrong way. She bit her lip, hiding the scream. "It's broken," Eli said, checking carefully. "We have to set it back." She nodded. "Do it. This will hurt." "I know." Eli took a firm grip. "On 3. "No," she said. "Just do it." He pulled sharply. Kareen let out a cry, but didn't move. She gritted her teeth. Eli wrapped her ankle tightly. "That's what friends do," he said. "Friends," Kareen repeated. "That word. I like it." Signs of search later. Eli stepped outside the cave briefly to collect dry wood. That's when he saw it. A strange mark on a tree nearby. A Varelian search symbol. His stomach dropped. "They're close." He returned quickly and showed Kareen. She recognized it immediately. "They will sweep this whole area, in 2 days or less." "Then we leave," Eli said. "You can move." "But I can't run now," she replied. "I won't leave you." Kareen looked at him, long and silent. Then she nodded. "Then we hide. Deeper." The song of her people. That night, Kareen taught him something rare, a song. Not sung with words, but with humming tones and tapping on stone. "This is what we sing to the dying," she said, "so they don't feel alone." "Why teach it to me?" "Because you carry the dead in your heart. And I want them to know they are heard." Eli blinked away fresh tears. "You're learning to cry," he said. Kareen smiled. "No, I'm learning to feel." They hummed the strange melody together. In the dark, surrounded by wild cliffs and roaring waterfalls, 2 souls from different worlds connected, and in that moment, the language of pain became the language of healing. The trap in the dust, the cave was no longer safe. Kareen's leg was healing slowly. and Eli knew the Varelian trackers were drawing closer every hour. The mark on the tree wasn't a warning anymore. It was a promise of capture, or worse. He helped Kareen pack the last of their supplies. She leaned on a wooden staff he'd carved, still wincing when she moved. "We can make it," he said. "Only if you carry the fire," she joked. "I'll carry you if I have to." Kareen paused. "You already are." A risky plan, they decided to take the cliffside path. It was dangerous, narrow, slick, with sharp winds, but it led to an abandoned Varelian outpost Kareen remembered from her childhood. It might have tools, maps, or at least shelter. They moved slowly. Kareen leaned on Eli's shoulder, her sharp armor plates pressing against his jacket. Below them, the valley opened wide, scattered with rock pillars and dry bones. "Do you think they'll forgive you?" Eli asked. Kareen stared ahead. "No, not for helping a human." "Then why risk everything?" She looked at him. "Because when I was young, I had dreams of stars. But you brought me their light." Caught. The outpost was half buried in the sand. Its metal doors rusted and half open. They entered carefully. Inside, broken screens flickered. Old crates stood untouched, and sand piled in corners like forgotten memories. Kareen sat down, exhausted. Eli checked a control panel. Dead. "Maybe I can fix this," he said. "You really think you can repair alien tech?" "I've seen stranger things." She laughed. "You are the stranger." But then, a sound. Footsteps. Eli turned. 3 Varelian warriors stepped through. The open door, weapons raised. Kareen stood, ignoring her pain. "No," she shouted. "He is not your enemy." "You betrayed us," the lead warrior hissed. They fired a stun bolt. It hit Kareen. She dropped. The last Standeli ran to her, but they grabbed him too. They bound his arms and dragged both of them outside. "You'll both face judgment," one growled. Kareen's voice was weak but clear. "You will regret this." Eli looked around. He saw the cliff edge, and a plan formed. They passed near a crumbling ledge. The wind howled through it. "You want to know what I am?" Eli shouted. The warriors paused. "I'm not just some weak earthling. I survived hell. I watched my team die. I carry them inside me. And I don't break." With that, he stomped the ground, right at the edge. The brittle rock gave way. He, Kareen, and one of the guards fell. Below the edge, they hit the lower ledge hard. Eli groaned. The guard was unconscious. Kareen barely moved, but she was alive. Eli pulled her into a small crevice in the rock. Above them, the other 2 guards shouted, but the slope was too steep to descend. They would need another way down. Eli held Kareen's face. "Stay with me." "You are reckless," she whispered, "and you're worth it." Revelation in the quiet of the hiding place. Kareen looked at him. "There's something you don't know." "What?" "The reason I was hunting, it wasn't just to watch you." "Then what?" She reached into her belt and pulled a small stone glowing faintly blue. "This. A translator core, but not for speech, for emotion. I was meant to record your soul, to see if humans feel." Eli blinked. "So this was a test?" "At first. But now I see you don't need a device to speak truth." She placed the stone in his hand. "Keep it. It belongs to someone who feels more than most." One step forward. By night they climbed again. Slow. Careful. Kareen leaned on Eli, her breath ragged. He didn't let go. When they reached the top again, the guards were gone. But they had left a message carved into the sand. "You will be hunted." Eli, read it, then erased it with his foot. "Let them try," he said. Kareen stood beside him, 2 fugitives, but no longer afraid, because somewhere along the way, the hunter and the prey had become something else. Partners. Hunted hearts. The desert stretched wide and endless. Kareen and Eli had walked through the night, avoiding the skies where patrol drones circled. Her limp slowed them, but Eli never let her fall behind. His arm supported her. His eyes scanned every shadow. "I thought your world was brutal," Kareen said, "but mine has become the same." "Maybe it's not the world," Eli replied. "Maybe it's those who fear change." "And you are change?" "No, we are." They moved quietly, dust rising around their feet, hearts beating in rhythm. Like a growing bond neither had planned, old enemies, new choices. By mid-morning they reached an oasis, a small cave near a dried-up riverbed. Inside, Kareen collapsed on a smooth rock and removed her armor plate from her injured leg. Eli cleaned the wound carefully, applying a cooling gel he made from crushed local plants. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Because I'd do it for anyone in pain." "Even if they tried to kill you?" "Especially them. That means they need it most." Kareen stared at him. Slowly, something in her changed. The ice around her heart melted a little more, but peace was short-lived. Footsteps echoed outside the cave. And then, Vornak, a Varelian war captain, huge, brutal, loyal to the High Order, and Kareen's former mentor. "You're coming with me," Vornak growled. "Alive or broken?" Face of loyalty, Kareen stood, wobbling. "Vornak, don't. You betrayed us. For him, a soft-skinned human? He showed me honor, something you forgot." Eli stepped forward. "She's not going with you." Vornak roared with laughter. "You, a broken man? You think you can stop me?" "I don't think," Eli said. "I believe," and he charged. The fight, Vornak was stronger, but Eli was faster. He dodged the first swing, rolled and kicked sand into Vornak's eyes. The giant stumbled, cursing. Kareen, though weak, took her staff and jabbed it into his knee. Vornak fell just long enough for Eli to climb onto his back and wrap a broken strap around his throat. "You should have stayed in the shadows," Eli growled, "and you should have died on Earth." With a final twist, Eli slammed Vornak's head into a rock. The warrior went limp. Kareen was breathing hard, leaning on the cave wall. You risked everything. So did you." The call from the stars that night, they sent out a signal using an old transmitter from Vornak's gear. Not to call for rescue, to call for truth. Kareen encoded a message using the old codes of her people, a challenge to her leaders. "They want to see if humans feel," she said. "Let them feel this." "What did you send?" Eli asked. "The truth that their own warriors chose violence, that you saved me, that we survived because we trusted each other." Eli looked at her. "You didn't have to do that." "No," she replied. "But I wanted to." Nightfire, as they sat near the fire again, Kareen leaned her head on Eli's shoulder for the first time. "We should be enemies," she whispered. "Are we?" "Not anymore." He took her hand. Her claws were cold, but they didn't pull away. "My people think tears mean weakness," she said. "But I think it means you're strong enough to feel." "Then you're the strongest one I know." She laughed softly. "That's not what I thought of humans before." "What do you think now?" "That I was wrong." The heartbeat. Moment, suddenly the transmitter blinked. Someone had received the signal. A return code flashed, not from the Varelian army, but from a rebel satellite. "They heard us," Kareen said. "What now?" Eli asked. "Now, everything changes." They looked at each other, not enemies, not prisoners, but partners in something bigger. The stars above them didn't seem so far anymore, because sometimes the biggest wars are won by the smallest acts of trust. The trial of truth. The rebel shuttle landed in the canyon at midnight. Dust curled into the air, hiding the stars for a moment. Eli helped Kareen walk toward the vessel, her leg still bandaged but her posture straighter than ever before. The ramp opened with a hiss. A figure stepped out, tall, elegant, and cloaked in silver armor. Her eyes glowed with knowledge, and behind her marched two guards who bore no weapons. Kareen whispered, That's Commander Lysara, leader of the Varelian dissidents. Eli looked confused. Is that good or bad? Depends on whether she came to help or to judge. Face. To face inside the shuttle, the walls shimmered with strange lights. A small chamber was set for council. A long table, glowing panels, and strange soft seats that adjusted to the shape of one's body. Kareen and Eli sat across from Lysara. The commander wasted no time. We received your message. You claim the human is not a threat. You claim you were attacked by your own. I don't claim it, Kareen said. I lived it. Prove it. Kareen placed the emotional translator core on the table. This has recorded every moment, my feelings, my doubts, my change. Lysara stared at it, then turned to Eli. And you? Why risk everything for a species that isn't yours? Eli leaned forward. Because pain has no species. Kindness doesn't need a passport. And loyalty, that's earned, not born. Silence. Then Lysara smiled. That is very human. The vote Lysara led them to the council chamber. 5 rebel leaders were seated there, one from each moon of the Varelian reach. They asked questions. Many. Why did Kareen disobey? Why did Eli not retaliate? Why risk war for one wounded alien? Eli stood tall. Because if we don't fight for each other, we'll never survive out there. The stars don't care who bleeds. But we should. Some scoffed, but others nodded. Finally, Lysara stood. Let us vote, not on their past, but on their future. One by one, the leaders pressed their panels. Green lights, red lights. Tension hung in the air. Eli's heart pounded. Then, the human may stay, Lysara said, and the warrior is free. Kareen gasped. Eli smiled, but the danger wasn't over yet. The Shadow Order. That night, Kareen and Eli celebrated with quiet joy. They shared stories, laughed under starlight. She even dared to try some earth rations Eli had saved, a freeze-dried meal he called mac and cheese. This is disgusting, Kareen said with a grin. Yeah, that's how you know it's real. But just as she laughed, an alarm blared. The Shadow Order, a secret elite group still loyal to the Varelian Emperor, had tracked them. A dark ship pierced the sky like a blade. Eli grabbed his gear. We're not running. Kareen stood. Back straight. Then we fight together. Unity and chaos, the attack came fast, drones flew down. Blasts of plasma lit the sky. Eli ducked behind crates, firing back with alien rifles. Kareen moved like lightning, even with her injury, slamming a drone into the rocks with her staff. A shadow soldier aimed at Eli from behind. Kareen leapt between them, taking the hit on her armor. You okay? He shouted. I've had worse dates. They fought side by side, their movements synced like they had trained for years, but more were coming. Eli turned to her. Do you trust me? With my life. He activated the old escape hatch beneath the outpost. Together they jumped down, into darkness. Below the world they landed in a hidden tunnel, glowing with ancient Varelian symbols. Kareen blinked. This place, it was built during the First War. It leads to the old Starlift Tower. Can we use it? Only if you can start a machine older than your country. Eli smirked. I've hot-wired worse. They ran. Behind them, the echo of boots followed. At the tower core, Eli touched the panel. It flared to life. Kareen stared. How? It recognized my DNA. That's impossible. Or maybe, Eli said. Your world is starting to listen. She stepped closer. Or maybe, I finally am. A moment of peace as the lift rose through the core. Light bathed them from above. Kareen leaned against him. You changed my world. And you changed mine. What happens now? We tell the story. We let them feel. Her last words to the council. The tower's lift emerged through a silver hatch, opening into the heart of a forgotten city. Once a beacon of peace before war turned it to ash. Now, dust hung in the air like ghosts of the past. Kareen and Eli stepped into the plaza. Lights flickered on as ancient sensors recognized life once again. A distant hum echoed through the space as energy returned. Waiting for them stood the council. But this time they were not seated. They stood, waiting. The last Teslisara approached first. The Shadow Order failed to stop you. But we still need to know one thing. Kareen looked up. What? That you believe what you're about to say. Eli gave her a nod. She stepped forward. No weapon, no armor, no anger, only truth. Her speech, Kareen raised her voice. I was trained to fight, to see humans as weak, chaotic, dangerous. But I was wrong. She looked at Eli, who stood with his arms crossed, calm and proud. He didn't save me because he had to. He didn't fight because he wanted power. He helped me walk. He saved me from my own people. And when I had nothing, he gave me his hand. The chamber grew quiet. I fired at him, thinking he was the enemy. But he showed me that sometimes your enemy can become your strength. She paused. You taught us to hide emotions, to control pain, to never cry. But I saw him cry for me. And I understood what strength really means. The council's reaction. One of the elders stepped forward. He had once called humans dangerous anomalies. Now he lowered his head. We misjudged them. Another counselor added, perhaps we feared them because they reflect the parts of ourselves we lost. Lysara smiled. Then we vote, not just for these two, but for a new alliance. One born not from weapons, but from shared pain, shared hope. They voted. All green. An unexpected message. Just as they began to celebrate, a signal burst through the chamber speakers. A human general's voice. This is General Locke of Earth Command. We received your beacon. The message? It reached? All allied colonies were listening. Eli looked shocked. Kareen whispered, your people heard? Not just them, he said. Ours did too. The healing begins in. The following days, rebel and human diplomats met. New plans were drawn. And for the first time in a century, a peace summit was proposed. Kareen was offered a seat on the Unity Council. She declined. I have something better, she said. What's that? Asked Lysara. A journey with him. She turned to Eli. If you'll have me. Eli laughed. I thought you'd never ask. Back to the firelight weeks later, they sat again under the stars around a small fire, this time near Earth's border outpost. Kareen wore Earth gear. Eli had braided one of her braids with a silver ring, a Varelian custom of respect. She handed him a small metal piece. What's this? The bullet I pulled out of you when I thought you were my enemy. You kept it? Yes, she said softly. To remind me. Of what? She smiled. That sometimes the shot you regret becomes the reason you live. Eli looked at the stars. You think we're ready for peace? Kareen leaned on his shoulder. We're not ready. But we're brave enough to try. And in the silence of the stars where war once echoed, now only hope remained.